Parashat Vayishlach, it says, ואלה המלכים אשר מלכו בארץ אדום. These are the kings that ruled in the land of Edom, which is Esav, Rome. לפני מלך לבני Israel, before there was a king in Israel. Now, why say kings in plural for Edom and then say one king of Israel? Because it's talking about, besides the fact that there'll be kings in Israel after the kings of Edom, which is just a simple idea, it means the one king of Israel, because it says Melech of Israel, which is Melech HaMashiach, which means the Mashiach is going to come after the Edom kings come and go. Now we have to understand, what are these Edom kings? Now, first of all, this section in the Torah is known in the Kabbalah as the breaking of the vessels, Shevirat HaKelim, where it says the 8 kings, and it says that they died, and it has to do with that Hashem made worlds, and then he destroyed them, all getting up to making this world. Meaning, he made worlds on top of us, and they kind of fell apart, and then we were reconstructing them, which is the tikkun, it means, to make a rectification. And eventually we got down to here, and we're fixing all the worlds, and that's what the job of mankind, and through the Jews mainly, is. But without getting into too much in that angle, something interesting that Rabbi Mendel Kessin discovered one day, he has a class on this, where he said he took a look one day at these 8 kings. You know, it says Melech Bela ben Beor, and then threw down a Shaul Merchovot HaNahar, and then you have Melech Hadar, and we'll see what that means. So he noticed that there's 8 kings, and of course we know in Russia's Czars, when it was communist Russia, is Esav, because he's called Esav Harasha, the wicked, and Russia is that word. So it's really an aspect of Esav and his main wickedness, which was where they threw off the yoke of religion and all that. Even they didn't have the church and all that. They were in charge. You know, this was the highest arrogance of Esav. And there were 8 of them. If you look at the Russian Czars, Lenin, Stalin, and you go through them, there were 8, and Gorbachev was number 8, and he fixed the bill for what it says, Melech Hadar. Hadar means from the word choser, to turn around, and he turned around the whole thing on its head, right? Because he made it a little bit democratic. After the Cold War, he dissolved the Soviet Union, or it dissolved under him, but whatever, he was still a part of it. And he brought a lot of economic freedoms and things like that, like we know what happened. And it fits for that part of the story. Now, Gorbachev, again, Rabbi Kessin noticed, it spells Gimel Vav Resh Bet Tzadik Bet. Gorbachev, that's how you say it, with the Tzadik. Comes out to 303. Now, Hadar HaMelech is also 304. Now, you could be missing 1, so it's the same gematria. So look at that. Melech Hadar and Gorbachev is the same gematria, so it also fits that it should be him. And it's interesting that it says, V'shem Ishto, his wife's name, Mehek Tavel, Bat Matred. It didn't mention the wife in all the other 7 kings here. But in Gorbachev's case, this guy, Hadar, it mentioned the wife. And in Gorbachev, you notice, his wife's always tagging along with him. She's always in the pictures with him. It's always about, Mr. and Mrs. Gorbachev. So just an interesting, again, correlation to the Pisukim, that even she's in there. So now when I heard this from the rabbi many years ago, I said, let me pick one at random, one of the names, and also check the gematria on it. Hashem must have been with me, was with me, because look what I picked. I said, let me see Shaul, because it looked simple enough. Shaul merchovot hanahar, from the riverbanks, or rechovot hanahar. And so Shaul, so this number is 6. Now the 6th Tsar was Andrapov. And if you take the word Andrapov, Aleph, Nun, Dalid, Resh, Pe, Bet, it's 337. And Shaul is 337. It actually came out exactly. How interesting. And it says about Andrapov, it says he was educated at the Rybinsk Water Transport Technical College. And it said Merchovot HaNahar. That's like a real bingo right there. And I'm sure there's other gematriot with other names, even if you have to do Atbash or something like that, different ways. I'm sure they will all fit. I just didn't bother sitting and try to add everything up. But this one came right on, and it just showed the validity of what the rabbi was saying, how these are really representing those Russian czars represents these fallen vessel kings, which before, meaning when they end, Yimloch Melech Libnei Israel. There'll be a king in Israel. Now, of course, ever since 1990, when all this started, with the Russia falling apart and all that, it's been already many years. But just recently, we see in the news that Gorbachev just passed away. August of 2022. He just passed away, and that's already this year. Now maybe that could be the final sealing of the end of these kings. And now this year, the Melech of Israel can come out.